In this episode, we are summarizing the 9th episode from Season 2 of the Wire series titled Stray Rounds. The episode first aired on July 27, 2003. In the beginning, the members of the detail express concern over the inactivity displayed by their targets and come to the understanding that the targets are likely altering their methods. The team reaches a consensus that they must monitor a different phone number associated with the recently identified target, as the smuggling operations tactics have likely shifted. Lieutenant Cedric Daniels designates the task of surveilling the warehouse to Thomas Herc-Hulk and Ellis Carver. Meanwhile, Freeman, Presbylewski, Bunk, and Russell are responsible for managing the rest of the wiretaps. McNulty continues his attempts to infiltrate the Greek syndicate's brothel, achieving better results by following Freeman's suggestion to adopt the persona of a non-American client. Employing a poorly executed English accent, he successfully secures a reservation. During his visit, McNulty meets with Fitz and expresses regret for his previous behavior. Fitz assists him in researching Double G, and they discover that Gleckus' records have been confidentially handled by an agent named Crotus. Fitz communicates with Crotus, who reveals that the information in the file they possess is limited. Following the conversation, Crotus contacts Vondas to inform him that additional agents are looking into Gleckus. While in the office, Freeman observes the disappearance of a shipping container and requests Carver to monitor the situation, considering Carver is already conducting a surveillance into the Greek syndicate's warehouse. Carver provides updates about the truck's arrival. Meanwhile, Etten Ben Eliezer instructs one of his associates to inspect the license plates of vehicles in proximity to the warehouse, aiming to ascertain whether law enforcement is in the area. As we catch up with Nick Sabatka, we see he holds a meeting with Vondas to speak about their enterprise. Vondas introduces Nick to Michael, White Mike, as the new source for his drugs. Additionally, Vondas gives Nick a fresh inventory of untainted containers he needs him to get rid of. Vondas and Eaton elaborate on matters related to the illicit trade, and they reach a consensus to transport a greater quantity of drugs. On the other side of town, Bodie Brodus' group experiences the consequences of using force against a rival crew of drug sellers to remove them from their territory. When the rival crew comes back armed, a shootout ensues, tragically resulting in the death of a young boy struck by a stray bullet while in his bedroom. Colonel William Rawls greets Major Howard Bunny Colvin and Lieutenant Dennis Mayo at the location of the shooting. Rawls expresses his frustration at their tardiness, noting that in the past the district commander would have been present shortly after a 9-year-old child was wounded. Colvin clarifies that Burrell had taken him and other district commanders to a seminar in D.C. The primary investigator from the Homicide Division is Ed Norris. Rawls requests Colvin to instruct the Western District and tactical units to apprehend as many drug dealers as they can while his team handles the investigation. Bodie informs Stringer Bell about the shootout, which prompts Stringer to become upset due to the potential disturbance of their drug trade caused by the young boy's demise. Stringer advises Bodie that their enterprise is about more than just conflict, territory, and reputation, emphasizing the importance of adaptability and being clever. Shamrock drives Bodie to discard the weapons. As they drive, Bodie cleans the firearms and discards them off the Hanover Street Bridge into the harbor. However, the bag of guns accidentally lands on a passing boat, eventually being discovered and retrieved by the city police. Remember, I am summarizing this entire series as well as other popular works of literature, movies, and TV shows as well. Subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the next episode or series. If you would like to see the playlist of our summaries, click on the link in the description. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. If you find our content valuable, consider supporting us on Patreon if you can. Doing this helps my channel out tremendously. I really thank you for your support. As a result of the shooting, Colvin's district initiates extensive targeted operations against drug dealers, resulting in numerous arrests. The leader of the SWAT team decides to detain everyone in the area, including those at the pit, on suspicion of being involved in the child's murder and that being linked to the drug trade within the housing complex itself. Mayo observes that this action should have been taken earlier, to which Colvin questions the purpose and intention of their current actions. In another scene, Sergeant Jay Landsman talks over the situation with Ray Cole and Norris. Witnesses have mentioned Bodie in relation to the case. Subsequently, Norris and Cole apprehend Bodie and retrieve the guns he had not properly disposed of. They confront him with the firearms, asserting that his fingerprints have been matched to one of the weapons. Bodie inquires about the specific weapon, and Cole mistakenly identifies the incorrect one. Recognizing that his situation is not as dire as they claim, Bodie requests legal representation immediately. As we catch up with String, we see he has a meeting with Proposition Joe to speak about collaborating on the distribution of drugs and dividing their respective territories. Proposition Joe expresses concern that Avon might not really agree to share his territory. Stringer proposes that Avon's willingness to cooperate might change once he comprehends the substantial amount of money they will make from working together, although his tone suggests he himself is not entirely convinced of that as well. Stringer requests Brianna Barksdale to speak with Avon regarding the arrangement he has forged with Proposition Joe. He emphasizes that due to their subpar product quality and insufficient strength, they are running out of choices. Brianna quickly relays that information back to Avon, but Avon remains strictly opposed to collaborating with Proposition Joe whatsoever. Avon instructed Brianna to assure Stringer that he is actively pursuing an alternative source of supply and is enlisting additional muscle from New York, specifically a man named Brother Mouzon, to assist in fending off competing dealers. Troubled by this information, Stringer conveys the situation to Proposition Joe. Stringer reassures Joe that their agreement remains intact, but stresses the necessity of their cooperation in addressing the challenge posed by Brother Mouzon. Joe declines to send any of his associates to fight against Brother Mouzon, recognizing his formidable reputation as a feared assassin. As we catch up with Ziggy, he shares drinks with Johnny 50 and openly discusses his wish to exit the drug trade. Despite his involvement for more than a year, later Nick joins them, and Ziggy, heavily intoxicated and upset, attempts to provoke a confrontation with him. Nick chooses not to engage with Ziggy's provocations and eventually learns from the bar's patrons the reason behind Ziggy's distress. Ziggy had unintentionally caused the death of his own pet duck. He had fed the duck alcoholic beverages, which led to its demise due to alcohol poisoning at the bar. Ziggy has a meeting with Glekus and proposes providing him with stolen vehicles from the harbor for overseas sales. Glekus displays initial hesitation, but eventually concedes to giving Ziggy an opportunity. Ziggy devises a scheme involving a pathway across the grass and a breach in the fence for transporting the cars. Johnny 50 raises a question about the necessity of such an arrangement when they could simply remove the cars through the front. That was episode number 22, titled Stray Rounds. To watch the next or previous episode summary, click on the link in the description or at the end of this video. In the description, you will also find additional links for supporting our channel. See you in the next episode. We upload new videos every week, so subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the like button as well. Click the notification bell to be notified of when we upload these videos. See you on the next episode of Culture Screen.